video, we made the argument that there is no such thing as a good or bad reader. Rather, there are people who understand that each reading task is different and adapt their approach accordingly. In this video, we continue that conversation, exploring specific strategies to use when you read. Well-known fiction writer Stephen King says writers should have something akin to an invisible toolbox of tricks and tools they can use when writing. We encourage you to develop a similar toolbox of strategies to use when sitting down to read. You can organize your toolbox into 3 distinct areas: tools to use before reading, tools to use during a reading, and tools to pull out when the reading is finished. Let's start at the beginning of your reading process. Just as there are things you should do before you write, like brainstorming and outlining, there are steps you should take before you read. First, survey the text. Take some time to look things over before you even read the first sentence. Are you reading a textbook? Pay attention to how each chapter is organized. Are there words or concepts highlighted or bolded? Review any breakout questions, key figures, or graphics. A novel? Take a look at the cover. Read the blurb on the back. Look and see if there's a short bio of the author. An academic article? Skim the abstract. Consider the title. Flip to the end and check out the conclusion and bibliography. You can think of surveying as a kind of exploratory pre-reading, where you set expectations, establish priorities, and familiarize yourself with the text. Next, activate prior knowledge. Prior knowledge is just a fancy way of saying things you already know. If you're able to connect unfamiliar ideas to things you already know, you're far more likely to comprehend a reading. So before you start, consider the following questions. Most importantly, determine your purpose. Don't just open your book aimlessly. You need a plan and a sense of direction. As we noted in part 1, the purpose of reading dictates the process, meaning you should adopt a different method when reading for pleasure versus, say, your first women's history exam. Identifying your purpose early on will help you choose the best approach. Ultimately, the more you know about what you're reading and why you're reading it before you begin, the easier it will be to stay motivated and engaged. Let's move on and examine what to do while you read. It's important to engage in active reading, which requires more than just moving through words on a page as quickly as possible. First, monitor your thinking as you read. This can provide useful insights about yourself as a reader. For instance, how quickly does your focus become challenged? You might be reading about one thing, but find yourself thinking about something else. Pay attention to when and how you have these disruptive thoughts. If you find yourself losing focus, even early in the reading, then you might want to build in a short break. Pausing can be intentional and productive. In addition, note your own reactions as you read. Where in the text do you experience confusion? When do you have moments of recognition or connection? Listen to yourself. Research suggests that trying to silence your inner voice is counterproductive and can even result in impairments in comprehension. And if you can't keep yourself from checking the notifications buzzing on your smartphone or laptop, that's a good indication that you should probably put those devices out of reach while reading. It's also critically important to write while you read. This means annotating. Basically, writing your thoughts, questions, and reactions as you move through a text. Annotating serves 2 purposes. First, it can help you keep track of information that you will need to recall at a later time. Second, annotating provides a useful record of how you are engaging with a text. So, how does it work? You might use marks and symbols to make notes. Underline, highlight, put stars or exclamation points in the margins. Scribble question marks next to passages that are unclear. Importantly, there is no wrong way to do this. Annotations are for you. They are notes of your experience with the text. Lastly, try to make connections. Literacy experts talk about 3 kinds of connections you can make with what you are reading. Text to self, that is, connections between what you're reading and your own life and experience. Text to text, connections to other things you have read, listened to, or seen. And text to world, connections to the larger world of ideas, beliefs, and histories. It's important to note that connections are partly subjective and context dependent. Not everyone's will be the same. What we get out of a text is influenced by our experience and unique perspectives. And remember, you can make these connections across various media. In a college classroom, a text may be more than just words on a page. Finding connections is the mark of a critical thinker and will make you a better reader and a smarter consumer of information. So you finally finished reading. You've made use of before and during reading strategies and are ready to check it off your to-do list. But wait, there are still a few more strategies to employ. Start by reflecting on what you just read. Review all your annotations, summaries, and notes. Think about not only concepts in the reading, but also your reaction to them. Ask more questions. What caught your attention or surprised you? Was there anything you didn't understand? What lingering questions do you have? The kinds of questions you ask after reading usually reflect the ones you asked earlier in the process. Only now, ideally, you have some of the answers. Next, write a quick summary of what you just read. A written summary is a good way to test your comprehension and can help you prepare for class discussion or an upcoming test. Finally, reread any pertinent or challenging sections. Don't despair if you don't get a reading the first time through. Experienced readers read a text more than once to fully absorb it. That concludes our two-part discussion of reading for college. We hope these strategies help you tackle even the most daunting reading tasks. And remember, with a little time and practice, anyone can become an effective reader. Good luck, and thanks for watching.